Hello guys, this is Joana Saahirah with another exciting video dedicated to my students spread around the world, but especially to my students at Joana Saahirah's online dance school. This video is about going inside or inner dance, or the ability to experience the music within without having to go outside into damn physical action, hysterical, meaningless movement, as we see today so often. In my book, The Secrets of Egypt, this one that I have here, I have an old chapter dedicated to what I called stillness, inner dance, going back home, how to make rich soup out of water and rocks. So I wrote this chapter in 2013. I published it too. I published the book at 2013, the first edition. And this concept has been, thanks God, more and more familiar to dancers from around the world. Many dancers have read my book and they started to spread the message, and I'm very fond of that. I'm very thankful for that, even if the book is not mentioned. The important is the information here is becoming more and more mainstream. But there is still a huge resistance to this concept, mostly because dancers don't understand what it means, and then if they understand, they don't know how to do it. They don't know how to put it into practice. So in my new online course, Joana Saahirah's Emergency Choreography, we have a full section of the choreography dedicated to inner dance. This is why I'm shooting this video actually, for those students in particular, the ones who are taking the online course. And that section invites a dancer to go inside of herself, to remain more quiet, to become more implosive instead of explosive. This is, as I said, a concept a little off the trends you see nowadays, because there is a lot of competition. I mentioned this in many of my videos because it's what I observe when I work around the world. I've judged in many competitions myself, so I know exactly what I'm speaking about. And there is a competition, a sense of speed, a sense of hysterical action, a sense of acrobatics and who is doing more and more tricks and more circus acts and more props and more and more and more. It's becoming, I think, so distant from the core of Egyptian dance, at least the Egyptian dance I know, that somehow we're not evolving. We are kind of distorting the dance in many ways. Of course, that's part of the process, you see, because Egyptian dance, like any art form which has been taken from its original context to other contexts, will go through phases of misunderstanding, distortion, abuse. That's normal. What is not so normal is that dancers nowadays are being dragged by these very destructive trends. In the long run, they're very destructive. That tells them to go faster, tells them to do more, tells them to always be very aggressive and on the attack, as if a dance piece would be battlefield. You know, I often have this sense when I watch dancers that they are in a war. You know, of course, these are influences from many dancers, and obviously I will not mention names because my intention is never to hurt anybody or offend anybody. I never mention names. I mention realities, I mention facts, and then people will know exactly whom I'm talking about. So, what happens in the long run is that dancers lose their ability to feel. They lose their ability to enjoy the dance, and they lose their ability to give meaning to the movements. They lose their ability to listen to the music. They lose their ability to be human. This in the long run is the result, and it is a problem. So what we're working in the Emergency Choreography online course, and the main theme of this video has to do with the other way around. So it has to do with a proposal of balancing the action with the stillness. Balancing this more explosive, outwards, bombastic mode where most dancers are very comfortable nowadays, with a more implosive, softer, internal, emotional, introspective mode. Egyptian dance, as I know it, is a good combination of the two. You cannot spend a full musical theme inside yourself, especially if you're a performer, because you will be completely disconnected from your audience, and you will be, for the lack of a better word, boring. So we don't want a one-dimensional dance or dancer. We want a multi-dimensional dancer. We want action. We want pause. We want extroversion. We want introversion. We want to have ability to do, and we want to have ability to stay still, receive, and feel. We want the ability to have our perspective on the movements out there, very assertive, not aggressive. That's something else. Assertive, but we also want the ability to listen. Yeah? To go inside and do small, emotional, beautiful movements which are at the core of Egyptian dance. Movements that may not be flashy in visual terms because they're almost imperceptible to the eyes. They're very small, very subtle. There's a part of Egyptian technique, not trendy these days, which is very essential and very subtle and very small. Those are small movements, almost internal movements. So what you do is you work on very small, meaningful, emotional, more internal movements, and you count on your energy, of course. So there is a huge side of Egyptian dance that is not visible. I also speak about it here in the book. I call it the invisible dance. Yeah, invisible, it's energy, it's emotion, thoughts, sensations, all the things you cannot see, but you can feel from a dancer. That's a huge part of Egyptian dance, and it's a part that dancers usually don't even consider. It's a shame, you know, it's very sad. So what I invite you to do, whenever you are doing choreography or improvising or whatever, independently of the music that you're using, feel welcome to explore both sides of the coin. The more outwards, outgoing, extroverted, bombastic side of you, and that of course the music will tell you when it needs you to be there, when it needs you to go outside. That comes from the music, doesn't come from the air. And another side, more introspective, quiet, implosive instead of explosive, less physically active, smaller movements, subtlety, delicate movements, emotional presence, energy exhaling. These two sides, the visible and the invisible or almost invisible, the physical and the emotional or energetic, the more masculine kind of attitude and the more feminine kind of attitude. Masculine as in action, I do outside of myself, and feminine as in receptivity. I stop and I receive instead of moving meaninglessly just because I have to. Somehow you have to get off the mouse wheel. You know this mouse wheel, the mouse keeps rolling and rolling and rolling and rolling and rolling until it drops dead. Literally. Always, in dance as in life, there must be a balance between action and stillness, between our interaction with the exterior world and our interaction with our inner world. Without these two polarities, we are at least off balance in dance as in life. Okay, guys? So do not feel insecure, and do not presume that if you are not moving like a crazy monkey on steroids that you're not dancing. You are. Unless you disconnect from the music and you're not emotionally there, then you would be on a pause button, let's say. You wouldn't be dancing. But if you are connected with the music, if you are moving, even if in subtle, internal, introspective ways, you are dancing. And those moments are perhaps more powerful, quite often more powerful than the moments when you are running all over the place and doing 1,000 movements in 1 second. Believe me. Try it out. Okay? Have a good ride, have a good practice, dance from your heart, use your head at the same time. Yeah? Grow, question, develop your dance, be curious. And above all, enjoy the journey, okay? I will see you soon, but for now, I'm sending you a big kiss. Mwah! And all my love.